Okay, well, welcome to the UW-Stout Virtual Study Abroad Fair. My name's Scott Pearson, and I'm the Director of the Office of International Education here at Stout. I'm partnering in this session with my colleague, Dr. Kevin Anzolin, who is the Spanish Program Director here at Stout. And the session today is really to talk about opportunities for studying abroad or even studying away domestically, right, to complete the program requirements for Spanish or applied foreign languages in general. And with that being said, I'll turn over to Kevin. Maybe Kevin, you can give us a brief overview of the Spanish minor, and we can talk about how this is why this is so impactful for students. Why should we study Spanish, or why should we study a foreign language in general?
Right. No, thank you so much, Scott. Again, my name is Kevin Anslin. I've been a great lover of Spanish for many years now, and certainly it's great to be here at Stout. This is my third year at Stout, and we have a great Spanish minor program. At any given time, we have about 60 to 80 minors going through the program. We had many people graduate the program last year. I think close to 20 people graduated with the Spanish minor last year, so that was really exciting. People take the minor for various reasons. Some students want to kind of reconnect with their heritage. I've had students that are, a few years back we had, of course, Alexa. She was, mom was of Mexican-American descent. She wanted to kind of reconnect stronger with that side of the family. In my classes these days, I have a young lady who is Peruvian on one side of the family. Some students like to be in the minor because of they think it'll expand their horizons in terms of business. I've had a lot of business majors in the minor. Hospitality is obviously a big one. And biology, and of course, even the kind of graphic and design majors are quite popular. So at the current time, the first thing that if a student is interested in the minor, obviously, first of all, reach out to me. This is my third year at Stout. We're finally we got things rolling in terms of credits. There are 22 credits to the minor at the present time, and we offer all types of classes. There are literature courses in Spanish. We have a great cinema course for the kind of more culturally oriented students. We also have a business course, which I began last year, and which I also taught in Oaxaca, Mexico. And so that's also a great opportunity for students. The first step, if a student is interested in the minor, I would say, first of all, of course, reach out to me any way you can. But moreover, take the Spanish placement test. This is a generalized test that's given throughout the system. And with this test, with this score, we can place you correctly. And while in the past at Stout, it was possible to enroll in Spanish courses via just the years one took at the high school level, we really want you to take that placement test. It'll never be perfect. We'll never know exactly what level you're at, but that'll give us the best idea that we have. After that score, we can place you correctly. And after being placed correctly and getting a B or an A in the course, you will be given retro credits for the previous work that you've done, whether that be in high school, at another institution, and then you'll be on your way to those 22 credits. A lot of times, I love it when my students go abroad. We had a young lady last year. She spent a full semester in Mexico, in Puebla, Mexico. She had a great time. She came back a lot more fluent than she went down. Then she left. Many students, of course, love Spain. Spain is always a big pull because of the kind of rich culture that Spain has. Certainly, it was important to me, and is important to me. I still have friends there. I lived there for 2 years while I taught English as a younger man. And finally, I've taken students abroad myself. A few years back, we went to Oaxaca, Mexico. We went for a month. We began the class a bit early online, did a few activities online to kind of get students used to the scenario, and then spent a wonderful month with, excuse me, with 9 students, and saw the sights in southern Oaxaca. Very rich place, great food, very affordable food, great natural sights, and of course the experience of being immersed in the language in a way that's really profound and moving. So there's a lot of good reasons to join the minor at this time. 57 million people in the U.S. alone speak Spanish. It has been said, and I have no reason to doubt the fact that if you can speak English and Spanish, that you could speak with 80% of the world. It certainly is in a real sense. I would say that it is very much a practical and pragmatic thing to do. And I hope that Stout remains proud of the program for a long time. We also have a student group on campus, Latinos Unidos, which of course I have a colleague that can tell us more about that. But they're very active on campus, and they do things that are related. Of course, September is Hispanic Heritage Month. They'll be doing various activities for that, even if we're virtual. Activities surrounding Day of the Dead. They bring speakers and generally try to celebrate Latino culture, this culture that I love so much, and for me is not my first culture. But I would urge us all at Stout to think about the kind of cultural richness in the U.S., to think about getting to know that culture, to think about the pragmatic and the practical aspects of learning Spanish, and just the joy of being bilingual is just it's for me, it's a joy every day.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kevin. And, I could say for myself, in my own experience, I had the pleasure of minoring in Spanish. This was years ago. I don't want to date myself here, but I did a summer experience, a faculty-led experience in Costa Rica. And then I did a second experience because I had so much fun on the first. I went to Ecuador, and both were tremendous experiences, really life-changing for me. And by those 2 summers, I earned 12 credits, 6 credits each experience. So I was well on my way to a minor by doing that over the summers. And I can't encourage it enough. I know that you're going to learn a lot in the classroom, and Kevin's a phenomenal instructor. But when you actually go to another setting and you're fully immersed in the language, having a host family relationship, when you're outside of the classroom all day long, all evening long, just pure Spanish, there's nothing better than having that type of experience. And I know also on the call here, I see my colleague Andrea Morse, who is the interim assistant director for study abroad. She had the pleasure of studying Spanish overseas for an entire semester in Spain. I believe it was Sevilla, and had a phenomenal experience there too. And it probably, like myself, led to a career in international education. So I think one of the things you just never know is when you study a foreign language, it really just opens doors. It opens doors for career, development and improvement. It also opens doors for so many different things you never would imagine in life. Turns out my wife is actually from Peru, South America, and I never in a million years would have thought that my Spanish would have come in handy in that way too, but it certainly was when I met her and when I was starting to date her. So lots of different applications for us to think about in terms of speaking another language. It certainly is one of the best tools that you can have. So I understand on this call we have a couple students that are in your class, and Megan or Rami, if you have any questions, feel free to either take over the mic or chat in the window. But Andrea, I know, are you on the call with us, Andrea? She might be in and out in several meetings, but we have certain staple programs throughout the year, certain partnerships that we've established. We have a university from Madrid, Spain, that was actually online live with us this morning. It's CEU San Pablo. A lot of our partners that operate in other countries have courses in English language medium, and then if you are studying Spanish, it opens up double the amount of classes that you could take, because you could have a choice either if you want to take it in English or in Spanish. That's a really good opportunity too. On a recent conversation with you, Kevin, we were talking about how sometimes there might be countries in Central America, or even in Spain for that matter, that the expectation of the level of Spanish shouldn't intimidate somebody to study abroad, because the professors know that Spanish is a second language for most U.S. citizens, and that shouldn't penalize you in any way. In other words, I think it actually excites professors overseas. They want to have that perspective, and they want to have you in the classroom. Have you noticed that as well, Kevin?
I mean, absolutely. Certainly, when I was, my first real experience, I was an undergraduate. That was really my first experience to travel abroad. I remember my first time. I left the country my third year as an undergraduate. I wanted to go to Spain because I just couldn't wrap my mind around the subjunctive. And I had a summer, and the University of Chicago, where I was an undergraduate, did not have any program. However, NYU did, and they still have a big presence in Madrid, I believe. And absolutely, I think I took, if I remember right, I took some classes in English. The teachers were very helpful, and the people are helpful. And part of that, it's both things. You want to grow as a speaker and as a listener. And so you want to have a certain amount of dissonance, kind of cultural dissonance, as well as linguistic dissonance. But I've never had any problems traveling abroad. People have always been as sweet as they can to me. So no, I don't think students should fear that at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have to trust in the process, and trust in the process of learning a new language. So I don't see, certainly for our trip to Oaxaca this past 2 summers ago now, I had one young lady. She was a student. This was her first trip anywhere, really. I was there at MSP at Minneapolis Airport early in the morning, 4 a.m. Met her parents, very nice folks. Had just driven in from Wausau or one of these towns in the middle of Wisconsin. And I said, well, have you ever been on an international flight before? Well, I've never been on a flight at all before. So she turned out to be our really one of our star students. She had a great time. We had a great time with her, seeing her grow. She really let herself go and let her be fall in love with the culture and fall in love with the moment of travel. So no, there's no reason to let levels of acquisition scare you off. If anything, it should actually be the opposite in a certain sense. It should let you realize how much you can learn and hopefully inspire you in a weird way. So.
Great, thank you, Kevin. And I know, there's no better way to improve than to practice, right? And it's it's okay to make mistakes. I think is a big lesson learned when you're trying a new language and trying to acquire it and do it well. Go ahead.
I love it when my students self-correct, and as a speaker, I still self-correct, and I think that's part of the learning process. That we make mistakes in English too all the time.
Sure, absolutely.
There's no reason for you get hung up on that kind of issue. So.
Exactly. So, well, we do have a couple of really neat new partnerships that we've been developing over the last several months. We have a new exchange partner in Bogota, Colombia. It's the Universidad Santo Tomás, and more information will be coming available on that. Right now, of course, during the pandemic, they are entirely online. There are even some opportunities to take classes there if students would have interest in doing that through virtual means. We have a really good partner, as I mentioned earlier, in Madrid, Spain. We have a new partner that's about to come to fruition here in terms of the signing of an agreement in Ecuador, in Cuenca, Ecuador. And I know that that's something, Kevin, that you have interest in and potentially leading a program there as well.
I mean, I'll go anywhere. I need to see Ecuador. Ecuador's on the list, you know, Colombia, Peru, but I'd love to see the other Andean countries. Absolutely. A beautiful people and a beautiful language. So
yeah, and delicious food, of course, too.
So, it's got to be good. It's got to be. So
yeah. So I know that with those partnerships that I just mentioned, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest. One partnership that has been ongoing for quite some time is a relationship with a university in Costa Rica, and that's I know quite popular for business students in particular. It is a partnership where students can expect or anticipate paying even a little bit less in terms of tuition fees and living expenses than they pay here at Stout. It's interesting how in some parts of the world, you know, the cost of living is so much lower that even with the cost of tuition, that might be even higher in some parts, it often offsets one another. So we have a lot of really great opportunities that are financially, you know, reachable, in some cases even cheaper than what you'd be paying here at Stout. So definitely, you know, reach out to myself, to Andrea Morse, to Chelasia, and Kevin about these experiences. I know Chile is another country where we are have the opportunity to run programs more or less on a year-round basis. As well. And I know Kevin is particularly excited about this upcoming experience that we're going to have to Cuba this summer. You know, Cuba's always been one of those countries that's been sort of off limits for U.S. tourists. It changed a little bit over the previous presidential administration, but now has gone back to more or less the status quo. Educational-based programs have been going on in Cuba for a long period of time, and we're just really excited to have a program there that's exploring culture and heritage. You don't have to speak Spanish, but for Megan and Rami and any other students that are in your classes that do speak Spanish, it's going to be a really amazing opportunity to kind of utilize your Spanish and earn some academic credit there too.
I mean, that would be a great experience. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I would love to see Cuba. I'll have to talk to my colleague Kimmery about that, but absolutely. I mean, it can't be that even far of a trip. If I got from, let's see, Miami to Jamaica was an hour at most. I
Right.
got to Jamaica, so I mean, Cuba's than Jamaica, so it's got to be incredible. So
90 miles from I think Key West, so we're talking maybe a 20-minute flight.
You can almost hitchhike there. So
That's right. So, well, great. This is really, you know, in addition to, you know, talking about the minor and the applied foreign languages in general, it's an opportunity for our students, your students that are in class with you to ask any questions. So I want to continue to encourage you, Megan or Rami, to post in the chat or to just raise your hand. You don't necessarily need to put a mic on, but we'd love to hear what you're thinking and if you have any questions about studying abroad as well. This session is of course being recorded too. So for those, I'm sure there are quite a few students that might have some of the same questions that our students have. So no question is a bad question. Just keep that in mind. And Kevin, what led you, just out of curiosity, you know, to study Spanish and to become a linguist?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I think there's a few things. One, I think people just kind of fall into their professions. I think a lot of things is just happenstance and just, you know, kismet, if you would. You know, I grew up in Chicago, and in Chicago, you know, there is a huge Mexican community. It's very much a Mexican city in a certain sense. A city of Michoacanos, from the center part of Mexico. And so it was interesting kind of looking in and on this culture and seeing that it was part of the city, part of this environment that I was living in, but at the same time very much different. And that kind of attracted me in thinking about that. I think that for me, that worked out really well to be to kind of to be. For me, it was a healthy relationship, something that was close to home, but also very, very different. And so that just worked out for me. And then finally, just to be quite honest, a lot of frustration about my own Spanish and wanting to learn this language and not um, really getting it until I went to Spain and kind of took it in fully. But it's about the culture, it's about the people, it's about thinking about the two dynamics that is, say, the Western Hemisphere. That's to say, colonialism from England and colonialism from Spain. That set up two very unique trajectories in this part of the world, right? So, it's for me, it's a continuous. There's always another country to visit. There's always a new food to try. There's always a new word to learn, and I never stop learning. It allows me to never stop learning. Even today, I
Wonderful.
was just right before class. I was listening to Mexican radio, and they were talking about this word that only I can't remember it. I wrote it down. I sent it to a friend. I couldn't believe it, but I just felt so lucky that one more day. How lucky are we? Uh, obviously the situation right now is a bit strained, but we're lucky because each day we get to learn something else, whether that be a new word, a new tense, or we get to think about another part of the world, or even a food item that we get to try. So it's about a lot of factors, I guess.
Excellent, excellent. We just got a question in. So I know earlier in our in your presentation, you were talking about the minor. You mentioned just how versatile it is in terms of being able to, have a major in one particular subject matter, and then also pair it with a minor. And that's going to pay off big time throughout your career. But the question was really, I'm an interior design major. What are some of the best places that I could go to take courses toward my major, but also have it count towards the minor? And I was going to say exactly Spain, and my colleague Andrea just wrote, we have a program in Barcelona in addition to Madrid, and the Barcelona Spain program is art and design studies, and that's through one of our third-party providers. API, and they actually had an earlier presentation today with us too. So we'd be happy, to connect you, Megan, to our partner to discuss that a little bit further. I'm told that they have a Q&A session tonight at 7:30. So if you're able to chime back in, that'd be a really nice opportunity to connect. But yeah, I like Kevin pointed out earlier. It's a shame that not all students decide to take on a minor, because I think it's our society today, there are so many opportunities. It's just going to open so many more doors if you have that competency in a second or even third language. So any other questions that we can help to answer from our students? Or Andrea, did you want to talk about any of these new programs if you're still with us on the line? I know I mentioned Santo Tomas in Colombia, how that's in development. I also mentioned the new relationship with Cuenca, Ecuador, with CDE. Are you with us, Andrea? Maybe again, she's back and forth. So, any other anecdotes or information that you like to share, Kevin, with students that are here with us today, or students in general that are thinking about the minor?
I mean, certainly that's a great idea to go to Barcelona for design or anything kind of dealing with art. I mean, just so the whole city is just an art piece. So absolutely. I'm sure there's a program for everyone in every major. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Did is the Sagrada Familia, is that complete yet, or is it still a work in progress?
That is. It's funny that you should mention that. So I'm obviously a bit of at least in my. Here's what else. I'm sure it's being built still. I went. Now it's been a long while. It's a very special place to me because I climbed the Sagrada Familia with my sister. I get a bit claustrophobic, and it's a bit that winding stairwell. I mean, I still remember it as being horrifying for me. but it's interesting that you should mention that. I just found a post. Who knows what? I have books in my apartment, and obviously I use postcards for bookmarks. And I've just recently found a postcard of the Sagrada Familia, and it says very distinctly 2021 completion date. I mean, I'll send it to you, Scott. It's fabulous. It's just like all this chaos is happening. Here we have the completion date of the Sagrada Familia. It's just this. This is next January. It's not going to happen though. It's not going to happen for various factors. It'll happen someday. I think I'll see it during my lifetime.
Sure.
Fingers crossed. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of engineering that goes into that building. So it'll be one of the apogees of human creation, but we're not there yet. So
right. And I would actually second that. I think of all the cities where you could go from an art and design perspective, Barcelona has got to be one of the top, in terms of the art and the design, the architecture. It's just such an amazing city.
Everybody's an artist. Everybody's a DJ. I mean, it's fabulous.
Yeah. So. Excellent. Rami, did you have any questions? I know you were on a little bit before our session started. Anything that we can help to answer for you, or Kevin more in particular can help to answer for you about studying away? We'd love to see when students are studying abroad already being in the U.S. and then may take part in a third-party country for additional study abroad. And you're welcome, Rami, to enter that into the chat room here too. Okay, big question. All right.
Well, actually, I'm thinking about this. This is a huge question, Rami. Let me see. I don't know if I can read that much. Intermediate. I'm doing CS with a concentration in Spanish. It almost feels like cheating now because how many I've accumulated. So I broke the placement test scale. I asked to stick with intermediate. Yeah. You have a great control of language, Rami, and I'm guessing that my sense is it's because of your heritage, which is very special. You have great pronunciation. I think stick with it. In class today, I think there are different levels in the class, but that's part of what the minor gives us, and what I try to do in class. It gives us each a kind of a medium to kind of voice our interests. I try to provide a forum in class for conversation, hopefully smooth out the levels. But I think in general terms, yeah, you should absolutely complete the minor, and two, you should definitely travel abroad. In terms of an intermediate Spanish or an advanced Spanish in winter term, certainly, I think I would love to get away from Wisconsin during the winter months. My vote is to talk with international education about what that program would look like. Off the top of my head, I mean, I think there are things in Mexico, Chile, and Costa Rica. I think, but absolutely, I would vote reach out to them for more information about that.
Right. And in terms of just kind of a status update with where we are regarding COVID-19, we haven't yet canceled our programming in winter, but the pandemic is still quite a significant barrier. I wouldn't be surprised if winter as well as some of the programs in spring are not possible. So we're kind of eyeing in terms of when we believe that programs will relaunch summer and beyond, in terms of being able to go more full force into programs. But it doesn't hurt to apply, Rami. If you did want to apply to something in winter, know that any amounts that you pay in terms of deposits are fully refundable if programs are canceled. So just keep that in mind too. Never a bad idea to start the process. And then he asked another question here. Anything specifically pertaining to study abroad that you can recommend? No, okay, no idea how to get a passport or anything, so I'm very clueless in this. Okay, yeah, nothing to be ashamed about. If you don't have a passport, very good question. Now is the perfect time to apply for a passport. If you are a U.S. citizen, the processing times have been a little bit delayed as far as we know. Now, I know Kevin has a different experience more recently in renewing his passport.
I did mention it today. I mentioned in class today with my students, and one of my students mentioned that it had taken her a long time too.
Okay.
it had taken her, I think, March to July, which is
Okay.
a long time. But
Yeah, it's
again,
about double.
mine was very short. I'm also with this TSA thing.
Okay.
I did that, so I paid that extra $80. That's worked out well for me. I didn't like spending the $80, but I like to travel. So, but yeah,
Sure.
I'm sure you can talk more about the actual passport process.
Yeah, we would recommend applying as soon as possible. It's something that it doesn't take a lot to go through the application process and mail everything, off. You've got to actually visit here in Menominee, you have to visit the county clerk's office. It's pretty close to campus, with pictures and with the application form, and then of course your fee payment. That is, again, if you are a U.S. citizen. The processing time in the past used to be around 2 months. Based on what Kevin's saying, it looks like it's closer to 4 months or even 5 months. So applying now will get you in good shape for activity, for mobility this summer and beyond. So definitely worthwhile to just take on some of those important steps. If you are a citizen of another country, it could be faster, it could be slower. You'd have to get in touch with your embassy to see about visa processing, visa services, or passport services, I should say. So yeah, that's a really good question.
The what is it? And the CVS right over here in Menominee, the CVS in Menominee, they do passport photos. The guy there is very sweet, so he set me up this last time when I renewed. But if that's an issue, obviously, yeah, just over here in the CVS is the passport photos. So
Right. Yeah. Well, any other questions from our audience, from students? Again, no question is a bad question. It's a great opportunity to have this direct communication with Kevin and myself and our team. Kevin, are you the person to talk to about applied foreign languages in general, and if there are any students that would want to take on another language, or can you talk a little bit about that process?
yeah, we also have another minor here at Stout, which is the applied foreign language minor. And if students get 16 credits in one language and 8 credits in another language, obviously at Stout at the current time, we are only offering in-person classes and on-campus classes in Spanish. However, it has been the case where a student comes to me and they have 16 credits. They've had an amazing high school career. They've taken APs, whatnot. They've come from another institution. They have 16 credits in one language and they can pick up 8 in Spanish or vice versa. And via that, we can give you an applied language minor. And basically, this kind of would suggest that you have a certain ability to control to express yourself in 2 languages, and also with this minor, you would complete a final project with me in Spanish about usually your realm of study. And so I have had projects, for example. A young woman, she did a project where she'd translate a website into Spanish. Other people have done various types of things, fashion design in Spanish, interesting kind of collaborative projects that kind of get at the fact that you can that you have some level of proficiency in these 2 languages. So absolutely, that's another minor that we have here. The number of people enrolled in that minor at any given time is less than the Spanish minor. Obviously, the Spanish minor is the main thing what we do. But there are, at any given time, say 7 to 10 applied language minors at the university. So.
Okay, great. We've got another question that just came in. Let me take a look here. I talked with someone at Stout about studying abroad, and she mentioned Argentina, that we had some programs there as well. Yeah, so we do have some programs that take place in Argentina. They are through some of our third-party providers, similar to API. I believe USAC has a program in Argentina that might be worthwhile to look into. And we'd be, happy to discuss that with you, Megan. What I would suggest is that you contact our office and schedule an appointment to speak with one of our study abroad advisors. We are meeting with students virtually right now because of the COVID-19 situation, but we're happy to dig a little deeper and to show you what some of those options are. One of the things that we like about USAC so much is that they typically operate in countries outside of like the capital cities. So it leads to often a more affordable experience. And we see that a lot of their programs are very, very reasonably priced. I see Andrea has just popped back on. Andrea, would you like to talk about Argentina at all?
Sure. Well, in addition to Scott was saying with USAC we just activated, maybe it was Chella, Saya, you may have talked to today. We just activated a program through CIEE, which is what, like Scott was saying, was our third-party program provider. And they have a campus block program where you can study, let's see, I have it up on my computer here. Campus block program, you can take, obviously a variety of programs during the semester. And it's in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And the campus block programs that they offer, it typically means that you're moving to different cities or sometimes even different countries. Right now, it's all happening in the same city due to COVID, but which is, I think it's great to just stay in one city. You can really dive deeper into the culture of that place. But it also is attractive to some students to move around to different cities or countries within the same semester. So that is an option. If you navigate to our virtual platform, you can see on my screen here, if you go to the Explore Programs page and click on Study Abroad Away Providers, you'll see the Open Campus block program there with CIEE. Now, CIEE is not able or not going to be able to join us today for a session, but feel free to contact me and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, either me or myself or Chella.
Great, thank you, Andrea.
Also, I wanted to add, I think there was a question earlier I wanted to add from Rami, is it? There was, in terms of studying, was it computer science?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something you want to think about too, we're actually starting a new program. Scott, maybe did you already mention CDI in Ecuador?
I did mention it, but I didn't get into the specifics. Maybe you'd like to talk about some of the specifics about CDI.
Sure. So at 3:30 today, CDI from Ecuador is going to be giving a presentation, and excuse me, sorry. And they don't specifically have courses in computer science, but they do have. I'm looking at I'm trying to find my screen again. They don't have courses specifically in computer science, but I know within the applied math and computer science major, you have different concentrations, like business management, risk management, risk security. And so say, for example, you are doing the concentration in business, you could find schools that offer business classes. And actually, CDI does offer courses in business that are in English and Spanish. And then you could also work on your Spanish, concentration in Spanish at the same time. So that's just another option for you.
Great. Do we have any other questions? Great opportunity to pose them here. And so, Kevin, in terms of all these new opportunities that we're developing, where would you like to lead the next faculty-led program after the Miami trip?
Yeah, I mean, Ecuador sounds great. I mean, I hope that Kimry is successful in Cuba too. I mean, yeah, we'll see. It all sounds very interesting. I think Stout students, I think we should explore these things in Colombia too. Bogota is a great city, certainly a city I know. Great coffee, very cosmopolitan vibe, art city. great infrastructure. It's a lot of life. I think 7 million people, if I'm not mistaken, bigger than Chicago, smaller than New York. I think that's a really strong connection. It's a city that's grown a lot in the last few years because of just different times of the country. It's not the Columbia that our parents' generation kind of heard about in the news. So I'll go anywhere, but yeah, I need a new adventure. I agree. So
Sure. Well, for our students that are either, watching this recorded session or the students that are online, make sure that you reach out to Kevin and let him know where you'd love to go. We actually have developed quite a few recent programs based on student, interest. The Cuba program actually was one of them that came about from some of our focus groups, meeting with students and talking about where students actually wanted to study and which professors they wanted to actually study with. So we know Kevin would be amazing in an overseas context, but definitely reach out to him and tell him, what's of interest to you, and we can work that way as well. So.
Yeah, I'm willing to go ahead and put me in your suitcase. I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, those were the majority of the questions that I had, and I think Andrea, if you're still on the call, if you have any other questions that you'd like to ask of Kevin.
I don't think I have any other questions at the or any questions for Kevin at the moment. Okay. But yeah, thank you.
And I'll take another moment just to review the chat room and see if anybody on the call itself has any questions. And if not, then we'll get started with wrapping things up. As I mentioned before, our office is here at Stout. We're having advising sessions through virtual means. Let me just share my screen so that everybody knows how we can, you can get in touch with us for some follow-up, meetings. It should be right there. You can see the welcome. I'm going to skip ahead to how to get in touch with us. You can see the URL there for how to book an appointment with an advisor. And you also can see the email address for our office for any questions or concerns regarding study abroad. It's actually studyabroad@uw-stout.edu, so very easy to access. With that being said, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and we'll thank Kevin Anzolan for joining us once again.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
And thank you also.
It's always great to hear about the new things you guys got picking up. So.
Yeah, and we'll thank our students who joined us today too. Yeah, extra credit for them in class, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, they always get extra credit. They know that.
Excellent. Well, with that being said, I will stop our recording for today, and thank you again for your interest. We look forward to making this, study away a possibility for all of you.